They say never judge a book by its cover. For Officer Greg Monroe, appearances meant everything, and on one fateful day, his prejudice would lead him down a path of regret. The story begins on a busy city street. Among the hustle and bustle, a homeless black man sat quietly on the sidewalk. His sign read, "Veteran in Need, God Bless." His name was James Wilson, a man with a story more powerful than anyone around him could have imagined. That's when Officer Greg Monroe appeared. Monroe was a man of authority, but unfortunately he carried his badge with a dose of prejudice. "Hey," Monroe barked, "you can't sit here. This is a public area. Move along." James looked up, his tired eyes meeting the officer's. "Sir," he said softly, "I'm just resting. I'm not bothering anyone." But Monroe wasn't having it. He stepped closer, his voice rising. "Rest somewhere else. I'm tired of people like you loitering and making this place look bad." James said nothing. He simply lowered his gaze and clutched a small military badge in his hand. What Monroe didn't realize was that James was no ordinary homeless man. He was a decorated war hero who had sacrificed everything for his country, but fate was about to intervene. As Monroe continued to berate James, a small crowd began to gather. Among them was a sharply dressed man silently observing the scene. The man stepped forward. "Officer, is there a problem?" he asked calmly. Monroe shot him a sharp look. "No problem. Just getting this guy to move along. Don't need his kind loitering around." The man raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Instead, he began recording the interaction on his phone. Monroe noticed and became more aggressive. "You better not be filming me. This is police business." The man didn't flinch. "Just making sure everything's fair, officer," he replied. Monroe's temper flared. He grabbed James by the arm, pulling him to his feet. James's military badge fell to the sidewalk. The man picked it up, his expression hardening. "Do you even know who this man is?" he demanded. Monroe sneered. "Don't care, he's breaking the law." The man's voice turned icy. "This man is James Wilson, a decorated Marine who served 3 tours overseas. He's a hero, and you're treating him like trash." The crowd began to whisper, some recognizing James' name. One voice broke through the murmurs. "Wait, is that true? James Wilson? I've heard about him." But Monroe doubled down. "Doesn't matter who he is. He's breaking city code." The man handed James a business card. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll make sure you're taken care of." Turning back to Monroe, the man's tone was calm but menacing. "And as for you, Officer Monroe, I hope you've enjoyed your career." The scene shifted to the police station. Monroe was called into the chief's office. To his surprise, the man from the street was there, sitting alongside the chief. "Monroe, we have a serious problem," the chief began. Monroe stammered. "What's going on?" The man smiled faintly. "Allow me to introduce myself," he said. "I'm Marcus Reynolds, CEO of Valor Incorporated. We're a nonprofit that advocates for veterans like James, and thanks to the video I recorded, your actions are now going viral." Monroe's face turned pale as the chief spoke again. "This is unacceptable. You've disgraced the force." The chief's voice was firm. "Effective immediately, you're suspended pending an investigation. Hand over your badge and gun." Days later, a press conference was held. Marcus Reynolds stood beside James, who was now clean-shaven and wearing a new suit. "Today," Marcus announced, "we honor James Wilson, a true hero, and we remind everyone that no one, not even those sworn to protect, should ever demean the sacrifices of our veterans." James stepped up to the microphone, his voice steady. "I've faced battles overseas, but some of the toughest ones are here at home. Thank you all for standing with me." Meanwhile, Officer Monroe sat alone in a dimly lit apartment, watching the press conference on TV. Unshaven and disheveled, he held a bottle of beer, regret etched across his face. In the end, Monroe learned the hard way that prejudice and power can only take you so far. And for James Wilson, dignity and justice were finally restored. Everyone has a story. Let's strive to treat each other with kindness and respect. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring tales.